Hi, I'm Graham. Welcome back to manvfilm. This is going to be a top 10 of movies you can watch right now on Amazon Prime, and I have got 10 great films to recommend. Let's get started. Number 10, Hell House LLC. 5 years after an unexplained malfunction causes the death of 15 tour goers and staff on the opening night of a Halloween haunted house, a documentary film crew visits the scene of the tragedy to investigate what really happened that night. Found footage horror movies were a fad for a period of time, and most of them were rather, kind of crap really. Hell House LLC is probably the best of the bunch that I can think of. It used the medium fantastically well. It had genuine terrifying scares. It got under my skin, and this is one of the best untalked about horror movies from this decade, and in fact it spawned a trilogy, and it's a great trilogy as well. But Hell House LLC is well worth checking out and highly recommended if you're into your horror movies. Number 9, Highlander. Born in the Highlands of Scotland in 1518, Connor MacLeod is immortal. When he is wounded in a battle but does not die, he is banished from his village. He meets another like himself, Ramirez, who teaches him swordsmanship, and the only way to kill an immortal is to take off his head. Highlander is a terrific movie. I've loved it since the 80s. I think it's a wonderful tale. Never quite capitalised on that first one, which was terrific. You get a couple of great performances. You get great sword fights. You get a terrific baddie. And this movie just has everything you could possibly want in any kind of action-adventure film. Well, worth checking out. Number 8, The Goonies. The peaceful community of the coastal Goondocks in Oregon faces imminent foreclosure to make way for a new golf course. However, when a band of local childhood friends who call themselves the Goonies find unexpectedly the notorious pirate One-Eyed Willie's old treasure map, riddled with hints and clues to his fabled loot, an opportunity to save their homes will emerge. Before long, a race against time and the criminal family of the Fratellis will begin, one that leads the Goonies to an underground maze of dangerous booby traps, all designed by Willie himself to protect his fortune. The chances are you've probably seen The Goonies. Quite rightly so. It is a classic of the 80s, and it's one of those movies that holds up. It's worth checking out again and again and again. Every part of this movie just sings, from the performances to the dialogue to the traps, the setting, the weird characters that are added to this. It is wonderful, and it's a true family movie, so maybe you want to sit down and watch it with kids or family members, or just enjoy this again. It's definitely worth checking out. Number 7, Overlord. D-Day, 6th of June 1944. A platoon of US paratroopers enters a village to discover that there is a German laboratory nearby. The Germans are developing a serum that turns their troops into indestructible super soldiers. The paratroopers set out to destroy the laboratory. A movie that starts off extremely strong, has this kind of settled down middle part where it becomes a little bit of a war thriller, where there feels as if there's real weight and consequences to their actions, and then turns into a kind of CGI mess at the end of it. But the first 2/3 are completely worthwhile, and although the third part isn't as strong, it still makes for a rather nice and fun movie. It is kind of Nazi bad guys at their worst being tackled by American heroes. It's fun, it does what it says on the tin. It's never going to set the heather alight, but it is well worth checking out. Number 6, Sherlock Holmes. In London, Sherlock Holmes and his partner Dr. Watson captures the follower of black magic and serial killer Lord Blackwood that has already killed 5 women. When he's near to kill his 6th victim, Blackwood is sentenced to be strung up, and Dr. Watson assists in the death. However, Blackwood mysteriously runs from the afterlife, and Holmes and Watson are intent on solving the case. Guy Ritchie directs this one. He brings along Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law as Holmes and Watson, and gives it a rather modern take on the Sherlock Holmes tale. It is fantastically well paced. We get a Holmes who is incredibly intelligent and extremely flawed. We get a rather capable Watson in this one as well, that is more aid to Holmes than we've seen in other movies, and it just zips along with great characters, set pieces, and a wonderful mystery at the heart of it. And I've watched this several times, and each time I go back to it, I find it extremely enjoyable and always way better than I remember it being. Number 5, Cube. 6 different people, each from a very different walk of life, awaking to find themselves inside a giant cube with thousands of possible rooms. Each has a skill that becomes clear when they must band together to get out. A cop, a math whiz, a building designer, a doctor, an escape master, and a disabled man. Each play a part in their thrilling quest to find answers and to why they've been imprisoned. I love this movie. I discovered it in the late 90s, and it's a terrifically low budget movie where you just have these basic rooms. They go into them, there can be traps, there can be clues, there can be ways to figure out how to get out, and we have 6 mismatched people who have to overcome their prejudices to each other and figure out a way of working together and get out of this predicament they're in. It's a great mystery, it's wonderfully staged, it has some terrific special effects, and is one of these indie movies that if you haven't seen, you're really missing out. Number 4, The Collector. When the Chase family moves to an isolated house in the middle of nowhere in Detroit, Arkin is hired to fix the windows and the doors. Later he meets his daughter and his wife that has a debt with a dangerous shark and needs money, but his week's payment is not enough to pay her debts. Arkin plots to heist the safe of Michael Chase during a night to raise the necessary money. However, when he arrives in the house, he finds that a sadistic criminal has imprisoned the family and planted traps everywhere. I love the setup of The Collector. I think it's genius. You have this lovable kind of hero who you can tell is a kind of loser but wants to try his best. He doesn't want to go to criminality, but he feels that's his only way out of this situation. And when he breaks into this house to try and just get his money together to fix everything for himself, he discovers that the family are at the hands of a merciless serial killer who plans on torturing and brutally murdering them. And because he's set up traps everywhere, they just can't get out. This is a movie that is about to get the 3rd part this year of it, and I think it is a terrific horror. A little bit gory in certain pieces. If you're not into that, be wary, but it is most definitely fun. Number 3, Super Size Me 2. Morgan Spurlock reignites his battle with the food industry, this time is from behind the register, as he opens his own fast food restaurant and investigates how the chicken business is run. I loved Super Size Me. I was really interested in the second one. It's all about chicken business in America and how the corporations run and rule the roost, so to speak, and how or what goes into opening a chicken business. And as usual, Spurlock tackles it head on, has some fascinating facts, some shocking facts as well, and it's really quite interesting. Number 2, The Florida Project. Set over one summer, the film follows precious 6-year-old Mooney as she courts mischief and adventure with her ragtag playmates and bonds with her rebellious but caring mother, all the while living in the shadows of Walt Disney World. The Florida Project is a movie that everybody should see. It is wonderful, taken from the idea of a child and how they are coping with this way of being brought up, not realising that it's not the best lifestyle that they have, but making the best of it. They have this horrible, turning, changing lifestyle thanks to their mother's inability to really put down roots or get a steady job or make things work. You have this great idea of a motel community together run by Willem Dafoe, who is outstanding in it. The little kids are terrific, and this is one of those movies that just gets under your skin and will definitely affect you. Number 1, Midsummer. Danny and Christian are a young American couple with a relationship on the brink of falling apart. But after a family tragedy keeps them together, a grieving Danny invites herself to join Christian and his friends on a trip to once-in-a-lifetime midsummer festival in the remote Swedish village. What begins as a carefree summer holiday in the land of eternal sunlight takes a sinister turn when the insular villagers invite their guests to partake in the festivities that render the pastoral paradise increasingly unnerving and viscerally disturbing. Midsummer is a terrific movie. Again, it's not for everybody, but if you're willing to go with it, this will lead you down a journey of just grief and heartbreak as we follow our main character of Danny as she comes to terms with the transgressions that's happened in her life recently and the fact that her relationship is doomed to end. But it's put in the form of a kind of horror. We have this unsettling community who are killing everybody with kindness almost. We have this constant daylight that just feels wrong. It looks marvellous. The performances are terrific from almost everybody across the board. It is a strange, weird, winding tale, and this is unmissable, if you ask me, this month. So there we have it, my 10 recommendations for you film fans to check out this month on Amazon Prime. I hope you find something there that makes you curious enough to go and check out. If you think there's something I've missed on my list, let me know in the comment box, and maybe next month it'll make it onto the list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.